song, right?
Yeah, that got the blood pumping right there, bro. Yeah.
Oh, very special day here at the Meet Dave podcast. We don't get in-studio guests very often, and we got one of the best. I'm super pumped. First, thank you to everyone who's come out to shows recently. I appreciate you. Thank you to everyone who's been ordering my all-purpose seasoning and rub for stocking stuffers. I've had some people buy like an entire box because they're giving them out to people at work and whatever. So thank you. Not only are you giving them a great gift they're going to enjoy, but you're helping spread the awareness of Dave. So I appreciate your friendship on that front. I'm in Canada, and depending on when this comes out, we're not sure yet when this is going to come out, but I'm in Vegas for a week at the beginning of December. I'm going to be in Winnipeg middle of December, which is probably where I'm at right now when this comes out. And then Orlando Improv, December 27th. Got a lot of cool stuff coming up in 2024. So keep an eye on my website, DaveWilliamsonComedy.com. A lot of barbecue/comedy events in 2024 that I'm putting together. So keep an eye out. Glad you guys are here. Today's a special day. Without any more stalling, my buddy all the way from Venice, not very far from where we record, in studio, my pal, Chef Binotto is here.
Dude, what's going on,
pal? Yes. How fast of friends did we become?
Oh, man. I mean, I think I pulled up to pick up Chuck, right? Yeah. And, I mean, it's pretty instant. Like, all right, we got to go have a drink. Like, let's figure out what's going on after y'all had a long day of shooting.
Yeah.
And I would say we were about 2 beers deep, and we're like, all right, I think we're going to be friends. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, just to clarify, too, shooting content, we were shooting a show that Chuck's doing. We weren't rolling around L.A. like drive-bys or nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
My bad on the phrasing there. Yeah,
that's
definitely
right.
Not. No.
And, you know, I
content.
shortchanged your intro because I like to phrase it in a certain way. And I shortchange you, so let me throw it back, and I'm just gonna say, everyone, you're gonna really enjoy our guest today. Meet Chef Binotto. That's how I normally do it.
Yeah,
that's how I normally do it.
Dude,
Yeah.
Dude, appreciate it. I need the Meet Dave intro. You
it's
know,
the way to go.
Yeah.
So let me tell you my experience with all that. I watched Barbecue Brawl season 4, which was the most recent season. And I watched it mainly because Chuck was on it. Chuck of Chuck's Flavor Train. He's my buddy. He's been on the podcast before. And so I was watching it to support him. And then, you know, there's always a couple guys that I see and might recognize and or watch and become a fan of and all that kind of stuff. And like Duffy, Brian Duffy. Yep. I remember him from the Bar Rescue days. And I remember years ago following him, and he'd comment on stuff and I'd comment, like, you know, so I just fringe remembered him. And then a couple other people that I was like, oh yeah, I think I know that. And then I never, you know, I didn't recognize you. I wasn't aware of you. And one episode in, I'm like, dude, I could be friends with that guy. And then it said, it popped up that you did live fire events in Venice, and you're based out of Venice. And I'm like, this guy and I, we have the same vibe.
100%, bro. Appreciate that, man. I mean, real recognize real, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's funny. You're a comedian that cooks. I'm a cook that thinks I'm a comedian, you know.
You'd be amazed how many of those there are out there.
100%, you know. So but I think it goes hand in hand, you know, when you're working professionally in a kitchen, you know, you just get your ass handed to you so much, and it can be kind of a rugged lifestyle. So I think having a positive outlook and being able to see the comedy and humor in life, in work, and whatever you're doing is so key to like maintaining your mental health, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it goes hand in hand.
Totally. Well, I think you've had a really interesting I don't know if evolution is the word or what, but you've experienced that world where you've worked in very formal kitchens, you've worked in environments that was like that, and resulted in being a part of some Michelin Stars and some Forbes 5 and some really cool James Beard Awards, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And then, but now you're at this point of your career where you're doing some really cool I don't know if indie's the word, but just creative, fun stuff. Like you're doing live fire events. Embers and Ash is a brand that you have where you put together cool pop-up events and structured ticketed events in interesting places. So I'll let you talk a little bit about both. Talk a little bit about being in that world then, and then we'll get to the stuff you're doing now.
For sure. So, I came up in Detroit. I started washing dishes when I was 15. I kind of just loved the industry. I actually went to fine art school for like ceramics and glass blowing and metals welding. But all through college, I was cooking to kind of pay my way through school.
Yeah.
I was super fortunate to, get thrown under the wing of a James Beard Award-winning chef out there. I was a young 19-year-old, punk, and he took me under his wing. I became a sous chef. And then by the time I was 22, I came out to Cali, and I was at the Montage in Laguna Beach. And to this day, I was on the only team for the Loft restaurant to have won Forbes 5 stars. Which is an impressive feat because we were a 3-meal-a-day restaurant, generally 300 covers on a Friday, Saturday night, 300 for breakfast, and maybe about $150, 200 for lunch. So that's like, to be able to maintain those 5-star industry standards is not only a feat in itself, but when you're covering and running a restaurant of that magnitude, I mean, that's impressive, and so that was a really amazing experience. I moved on, always moving on with the good graces of my former chefs and my peers. I'm just that kind of guy.
Yeah. Drop a couple names, bro.
Yeah, so I moved on and I went to Chicago and I worked for Chef Graham Elliott, and that's where we won 2 Michelin stars. And that was an incredible experience. That really sort of cemented my whole molecular gastronomy chapter. I started picking that up when I was young, working for the James Beard Award winner in Detroit, but I was young. I was still a young cook trying to figure out how to sear a goddamn steak properly. So working for Graham really kind of just leveled that up, doing fun things like foams and pearls. And I found a way to utilize those things that actually make sense in dishes, not just for bells and whistles, but are there for a purpose and to be playful.
Yeah. But adds to the flavor and adds to the
texture,
aroma
flavor,
and all this stuff. Yeah.
Everything, 100%, so I definitely try to be thoughtful when I play with those kind of executions, and so then after Graham Elliott, I saw this thing, Iron Chef Morimoto coming to town, opening a restaurant. I'm like, you know what? Let's see what happens here. And I hopped on the opening team for Iron Chef Morimoto's restaurant in Chicago. I became a sous chef within a few months, and my chef de cuisine left, and I took over his position within a year, I think. And so that was an amazing experience. Morimoto loved our restaurant in Chicago. He loved us. We were his new baby. And for about the 3 years I was there, he was in constantly. He spent 2 birthdays with us, 1 Christmas party with us, and so that just kind of showed a lot. He really loved being there and being with us. And I don't know or think really that that's something a lot of his other restaurants got to have. A lot of
that personal touch.
100%. Because, a lot of people walk away and they're like, yeah, I worked at Morimoto's restaurant. But it's like, well, I saw this guy every couple of weeks. And then especially leveling up in the management, I'm really dealing with his corporate people and his corporate chef. And
it was like Dave Thomas couldn't visit every Wendy's location, but I'm sure there's a few that he really liked going in and having a bowl of chili.
100%. He's like, these guys are not only the best chili makers, but these are my people.
Yeah, man. That's where I feel comfortable.
Dude, Dave's a good guy, though. I'm a big fan.
But he's dead now.
Never worked for Dave. I did not work for Dave Thomas. Unfortunately, it would have been legendary. But Morimoto is pretty cool. That's a good throwback, I guess. So
almost as many Michelin stars as Dave Thomas.
Almost 100%. Yeah. So that was all my sort of. Forbes 5-star, 2 Michelin star, sort of pedigree right there. And then when I was with Morimoto, I had some life-changing events. And then I also got, at the same time, I got a phone call for my first opportunity to be the executive chef of a new restaurant in Hollywood, California.
Okay.
And so it was just at the perfect time. Like I said, I had some crazy events, and yeah, man. So I was an executive chef opening a restaurant in Hollywood by 28. And then I was a corporate chef for the Beetle House Company. We did themed restaurants inspired by Tim Burton. I had one in New York.
How cool
DC.
is that?
Oh,
Yeah.
so cool, man. And for me, that kind of evolved in what I'm doing now, right? Like opening up these Tim Burton themed restaurants. I also did Star Wars theme. We did an Austin Powers theme. We did all sorts of fun themed kind of pop-ups and restaurants. And what that sort of took my fine dining style and really made me realize how I can create that into an overall experience, not just a dinner, but like a crazy, how do you say, just an interactive experience really that you walk into, and you can just be so consumed by everything going on and your food and your service, the ambiance, etc.
Yeah.
So that kind of translates into what I'm doing now a little bit.
And what you're doing now is Embers and Ash.
Embers and Ash. Embers and Ash is been going on for almost 3 years now, which is really crazy. Doing the whole fine dining thing for so long and just living in LA, I always would love to get out of the city, go camping, go play around. I'm a big outdoor adventurer, man, big kayaker. So on all my trips and adventures, it kind of campfire cooking became a thing. And it sort of just evolved into this like passion, like just having fun. I really, really loved it. And I started diving down that rabbit hole, reading books by Nicholas Eskedet and Francis Mallman, just some of the greats right there. But yeah, I just started going down that rabbit hole, and it really fascinated me. And what was amazing was it's really a step back from everything I've been doing. The whole foams and pearls and everything has to be picture perfect, right?
You're stripping cooking down to its caveman roots, basically.
Exactly. We're going down to the primordial roots of like cooking. This is how cooking began. And for me, I think that's what's so exciting. That's what's so fascinating about this is like, we are caveman cooking, but my final product is still going to be something very elegant, very beautiful and delicious. But we're just getting back to the roots of cooking and how food began. We didn't have saute pans back in the day, come on. You put rocks on top of some coals and seared a piece of fish.
Yeah. Well, so walk us through one of the Embers and Ash events. Like people buy tickets. Do they show up at a location? And then what's the meal end up being like? What's how's the night go?
Yeah. So generally Embers and Ash, we like to do our events out in the field, right? We work on farms. We do dinners on the beaches. The Kern River, we do quite a few dinners up there as well. So we're always trying to take our guests to a new, beautiful location. We cook outdoor, everything on an open fire. We also have some urban farms we work with as well. Generally, we do ticketed events. And so we host events. We're working on our next series, our summer series, if you will, right now. And we're lining everything up. But yeah, man. So, you just be on the lookout for our tickets online and all the events and dinners. And yeah, people come show up. We try to do interactive experiences with like the farms we're working with or some of the products that we bring in, everything from like, I work with a olive ranch in Bakersfield that every few months a miller comes around and presses the olive oil and then, they send it to me. So I try to work with a lot of local farms for my ingredients. And I think that's something special too, to be able to connect the people to like, hey, this farm's right down the road, or this is the farm that you got this from.
Yeah.
You know, so I always have the farmers there. I always have the brand owners there. You know, it always makes it more fun. And then I bring my little bells and whistles, you know, to it. So it's
literally he wears bells and whistles.
100%. That's just because of the holidays.
Yeah.
Like
It's like a Mrs. Claus outfit. Like, yeah.
with the little bells on it, like
skirt.
tassels. So too far. But yeah, man, no, it's really fun. You know, I think people are pretty amazed at what we do, and me setting out to do this is no shade on anyone or anything, but you know, when I first launched Embers and Ash, I did a lot of research and I saw who is out there doing something like this and who's doing something. So who's my competition gonna be, you know? And everyone that's doing things like this are amazing, talented chefs, talented companies, you know, but like, what sets Embers and Ash apart, what sets me apart, is really what our final product is. You know, a lot of these companies are doing big, beautiful family style spreads and this and that, but like, I'm giving you a 12-course plated dinner in the field. And you're having a very elevated fine dining experience that you just don't see that often when it comes to the live fire style food. You know, a lot of people do the family style kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think bringing that elevation to such a rustic primordial style of cooking is really what my goal is, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a high degree of difficulty to have that many courses and to do them. Like, obviously family style is a lot easier. You cook, it's there, you plate, you know, whatever. But if you're coming through and you're like individually plating over and over again out in the elements, like that's definitely difficult. So walk us through a couple courses that would be an example of one of these events.
Okay. I always start my dinners off with an amuse-bouche, right? A first little one-biter. Something that's sort of become a signature of ours is my coal-roasted oyster, all right? So this is basically a play on our oysters Rockefeller. I make a bacon uni cream. I saute mustard greens in there, shallots, garlic, all the good stuff, right? And then I'll put that cream on the oyster, and we'll put that oyster right on the coals. And you'll watch that cream kind of bubble and caramelize right there on the coals. And then, you know, we'll serve it like that warm. And so it's just my take on a you know, definitely an elevated oyster Rockefeller, but people love it, you know, and even putting the oyster on the coals for that 1 minute really, really adds that smoke. And it's just something so unique that you can't do in an oven or on a saute pan or even on a grill sometimes, you know?
So when you're cooking a fire for a event like this, that you know the fire is going to be for cooking, is it along the same lines as if you're building a fire in an offset smoker or in an open pit or something like that, where you're thinking about what wood you're bringing, you're thinking about starting the fire earlier so that you're cooking now more down with like certain things? Would you cook like when the fire's raging versus when it's just down in the coals, or like how deep do you have to get into that?
100%. So generally what I do when I have the space is I will make my pit more of a rectangle, right? So to start off, we're starting with a giant, massive bonfire. Like, let's go, let's get this thing roaring, you know?
You start the meal with s'mores instead of ending it with the dessert.
100%. Yeah, that's how we like to start it. With dessert, we start on a sweet note, baby.
Yeah,
you know
s'more.
Some more what? But yeah, so you got to get that fire raging.
By the way, that would be great if you sold all these people on this curated dinner and they come out and it's literally just campfire s'mores.
Well, actually, speaking of, so a cute thing that we do is at the end of most of our dinners, we have these old like 1950s little lunch pails, like the tin lunch pails with our logo on it and everything. And inside we give them a little s'mores kit. And we're like, hey guys, you know, when you're done, you don't have to go home. We encourage you to hang out by the fire while we break down, make some s'mores, hang out, have some fun. And people really seem to get a kick out of it.
What's the typical like size of a group like this that you can feed in this way?
So I like to keep our dinners more intimate.
Yeah,
100%. You know, I can do 75 to 150. You know, like this if you really wanted.
It's a lot of people around a s'mores fire.
Sure is going to be a big old fire, baby. Yeah. You know, they're going to see that thing from Mars. You know, I like to keep it intimate, like 25, 35 is kind of our sweet spot.
Yeah.
You know, that's really where we can hit our mark. I like to keep it intimate. That's also a reason I do this instead of running restaurants now. You know, I get that interaction with my guests. I get to see their expressions when they eat the food. And you just don't do that when you're running 5 different restaurants and kitchens and you know, cranking out 300 meals a night. So,
yeah, totally.
You know.
I just did a really cool thing with my wife. My buddy Philip Franklin, he's got these Sushi by Scratch restaurants.
Okay.
And he invited my wife and I to go, and it was that experience. There's only 6 people at a time that are 8. I think they see 8 at a time. And this particular one, 2 people didn't show, so there were 6. So there's 4 chefs and 1 bartender for 6 guests.
Wow.
And it was just a 20-something course sushi meal, and it was just
Omakase.
Yeah, exactly. It was just so interesting to get that attention and that like the detail from the chef. He was able to talk to you while you're eating. So yeah, I can imagine that's a similar experience.
100%. You know, and that's what you know, I always say it's like it's dinner and a show, baby. You know, you got the fire roaring, you got an energetic, passionate chef that loves what he's doing. You got this beautiful, amazing food, beautiful ambiance, and you know, that's really what I'm out to set. Is like, as cheesy as it is, I'm here to make a lifelong memory.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, that's if I do my job right. Anyone can cook food. Anyone can cook a good meal. But can you make a group of strangers walk away, you know, with an amazing memory that they will always remember because you cooked them this meal? Yeah.
Well, if you're in the LA area and you actually do go outside LA and do these as well, but it's at Embers and Ash Co on Instagram if you want to specifically follow and try to be a part of that experience. And not only are you doing those events, but you've done some events where you're creeping into my world a little bit, and you've done some comedy shows under the brand Cannabis Supper Club.
Yes,
where it's food. It's I imagine some cannabis culture is involved.
Yeah,
and then you've had Ron Funches and my friend Carmen and some other great comics perform, and you've done some events like that.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. We're keep an eye out for that as well. We're looking to have one on April Fools. So that should be coming up and really fun. But yeah, Cannabis Supper Club. So the idea behind that is what we do is instead of pairing each course with a glass of wine, we pair each course with a different kind of cannabis. So we have our canna sommelier, if you will, Cannamalier, up there, and he'll talk about each strain and let you know why we paired this with this dish, because there really is different terpenes, different aromas and flavors and essence you get from it. And we're not giving people giant blunts or joints. You know, they have their own little bowl, they have a little half a gram, and then just take a couple puffs. It's amazing how sophisticated this is, and that's really our mission with that as well. Just like Embers and Ash, is to show the world that there is sophistication in the cannabis realm. So yeah, our comedy event was super fun. We had Ron Funches, Reggie Watts, our good friend Carmen Morales, and a couple other comedians that were just great. Gabe Dinger, Blair Sochi. I hope I said her name right. I don't know. But it was so amazing. And that's one where we had kind of a big happy hour for a couple hours. All sorts of activations and brands were there. And then they put on the comedy show, which was a pretty good long comedy show. It was great. So epic. And what was fun was then after everyone's set, the VIPs who bought the dinner tickets got to sit down with the comedians and enjoy their dinner. And I also had some of my chef buddies that also do pop-ups and collabs around Los Angeles there with me. Shout out to Chef Wendy, Chef Jack, all my people. And it was amazing. So we're looking to recreate that not only with Cannabis Supper Club, but I'm looking to recreate that with Embers and Ash and Meet Dave.
Hey, we are talking about collaborations. Well, we did collaborate on my show. I have a monthly show in El Segundo where I sell barbecue out the back, and then we put on an amazing comedy show at a place called South Bay Customs, which is
fun.
A dope venue, right?
Oh,
it's really
so
it's a music venue, but it's like super rustic and kind of hip. It's really cool, you know?
Yeah.
It used to be a motorcycle shop. It was a motorcycle custom shop, and the guy was really into music and has this really cool, stage and lights and everything.
My wife's Uber driver was like, oh, hey, so you got a bike here? Are you picking up a bike? Or what?
Yeah.
I thought my wife was picking up a motorcycle. She's like, no, it's a comedy show.
At 10 p.m.
At 10 at night. Like, Uber driver's like, okay, comedy show. Sure, lady.
Yeah.
Like, super great venue, man. Great show. I loved when you invited me to the first one. I had such a blast.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. That was so fun, and I love what you're doing with that. Thank you again for inviting me to collab with that.
Yeah. Well, you came to the first one and hung out, and then the second one you said you're going to come, and I go, yo, you want to cook? You want to like have some fun together? And you're like, yeah. So we grabbed some ribs.
Heck yeah.
And I think I did a brisket, right?
Yep.
And you came by the house, and we prepped up some ribs, and then we divided and conquered and came back together and served food. And that potato salad you made with the crumpled potato chips was a huge hit.
Yeah,
it was really good stuff.
People like that. Yeah, that was fun.
So it was fun. It was fun having someone hop in with me there.
I like how you spend like 8 hours on ribs, but then everyone's like, yo, this potato salad is fucking fire.
Yeah, you just whip that out in 5 minutes.
Yeah, dude. Like, all right, cool. Love it.
We'll do more of it for sure, man. And what he was hinting at was as part of the Embers and Ash series this summer, we're going to try to team up on at least one of them and
100%.
Yeah, and do something, come up with something creative.
Do something good, dope, dude. Like, thinking comedy cookout, baby. We'll do something.
I think that I identify with what you're doing with Embers and Ash too a lot because that's been my life kind of learning barbecue and cooking barbecue because I've done so much of it on the road. So it's funny, like I'm always very hesitant to call myself an expert or brag about barbecue at all because I have so much respect for the guys who do it like as their main thing or whatever. Guys like you that have like a real formal training in restaurants and stuff. But what I do have no problem saying that I'm an expert at is cooking good barbecue on a loading dock outside of a comedy club with just sourcing whatever I can and a borrowed smoker and just figuring it, no prep table.
MacGyver status.
I've literally like cooked a lot of times these restaurants give us like really nice steaks, right? So we'll source some really good proteins, like just high-end stuff, dry aged or Wagyu or who knows what we get, right? And I'll end up cooking them literally in an alley next to the venue in a disposable aluminum tray. And I just got a grate going over it, real hot coals. And I'm just out there cooking these like super fancy steaks in like the most ghetto fashion ever.
100%. A couple homeless guys down the street, some rats scurrying by your feet. Look, bro, you're not the only one. Like I've done that in a professional setting. I'm not going to say where,
which restaurant,
but it's like they're like, all right, we got to rent the ovens and stoves. You're cooking in this alley for 100 people and shipping. Like, I'm in an alley in downtown Los Angeles. Like, just smells of urine and marijuana everywhere.
Yeah.
But you're
Which
not.
adds flavor.
Adds flavor. But nothing like Meet Dave's meat seasoning, which adds the most flavor, unlike the alley we were talking about.
Listen to this, man.
Yes, sorry. Just want to throw the plug in there.
Well, in that vein, talk about like, did that prepare you for barbecue brawl? Cooking in those situations where they throw so many unnecessary hurdles at you.
Right. I mean, look, I think 100%. I think everything I've learned in the industry, working in a hotel, working in freestanding restaurants, working in catering, I think all of that really does help prepare you. And I've done it. Everything to the point where I'm just like, hey man, throw me wherever, I can do whatever you want, but also nothing will ever prepare you for the madness that is barbecue brawl.
Yeah.
I honestly went in there feeling like such an underdog. Like regardless of my how do you say, culinary background, like I'm not a classic barbecue guy, bro. You know, like I don't cook ribs, I don't smoke brisket. Like, yo, hail to you, you know, and Chuck and all the amazing barbecue chefs out there, because I am not one of them. I'm a dude that likes to throw food in some fire and see what happens, you know. But it was very daunting. You know, I walk in and a couple of these chefs know each other, and I'm just like, fuck, man, I don't know, you know. And you can just tell, you know, I was definitely the first night. Everyone's looking like, who is this guy? I have a Pizza Planet shirt on and, you know, my hat and some like Pikachu flip-flops. And they're just like, who is this guy? Everyone else is rocking like barbecue gear and shit. I'm just like, hey guys, I'm here to cook some food. And it was daunting, you know, and then the more I met everyone, I really felt like, I'm like, shit, I don't know shit. What am I doing here, bro? Yeah. You know, and, but all the chefs were really so amazing. That the chefs were what made this experience so much fun, because I had so many chefs. You know, Christy, Girls Can Grill. She gave me so much amazing advice, and you know, most of what her advice was just like, dude, you don't know how to cook a hog like this? Do it the way you do it. You know, do it asado style. Do it in the coals. She's just like, do you, man. And I think really ultimately that's some of the best advice that, you know, I could have gotten, is just like, you know what, do me. I don't know how to cook a brisket. Yeah. I don't know how to cook ribs. I mean, I do, I guess, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you know what? Me and Big Chuck. All right. So the evolution of me and Brother Chuck, I walked into the hotel and I was griping about something. I'm like, man, no place delivers weed around here. And he looks at me, he's like, yo, man, you looking for some weed? I'm like, yeah, bro. He's like, meet me down here in 5 minutes. I got you. I'm like, what up, bro? I'm Chris. He's like, I'm Chuck.
And a friendship was born.
Bro, and we've been kicking it ever since, you know? So, yeah, we hit it off instantly. And behind the scenes, we just really grew an amazing bond and friendship. And he taught me so much as well. You know, Chuck really did teach me a hell of a lot about classic traditional barbecue. And it's all on the fly. So, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate this. Eventually, we were on the same team together, and we did pull out some traditional barbecue to win the episode. Woo! Which was so fun. I mean, I think you see on screen, like I'm just looking off to the side when they're announcing winner, and they announce us, and I like have a delay. I'm like, wait, what?
We did it?
We did it? Like, this, you know, then the fucking waterworks start coming on. And, no, it was amazing. And I had him to thank for it. He was coaching me and I was doing my own thing at the same time. You know, it was just like, and that's all you need as a chef. Once you've learned everything, you know, you can, and you have a strong foundation. All you need is
some guidelines. Like, what am I shooting for here? Like what internal temperature? When do I, wrap, all that kind of stuff, and then
100%.
It's not like you're starting from scratch. Like, you know how to bring flavor, you know how to make sauce, you know how to, keep things food safe. Like, you just
make a potato salad.
Yeah. Certain things you just need a little guidance if it's not something you cook a lot, Right. But the challenge of those shows, I assume, because I haven't been a contestant on a show like that before, but I have been on productions, just in the entertainment world. And I could tell you that literally the show is about them giving you challenges and giving you hurdles to overcome. But on top of that, you have the natural challenges and hurdles of production, which is always like, start, stop, wait. Well, we got to shoot it again. And you're like, bro, I can't shoot it again. I can't keep, even just making my Instagram videos, it's a challenge. Like, right, I'm like, dude, I want to get this shot of the beef rib in there, but I don't want to keep opening the lid of my smoker to get the shot, because now I'm messing my cook up,
Usually there's there's not too much of that. I don't know what I can say and what I can't say really, but it's all pretty legit. It's legit, man. I mean, they tell you what you're gonna. Yeah, we got to take a lunch break and whatnot. Like, that's mandated, right? So you got to take a lunch break. So
unions,
yeah, exactly. Damn union. But JK.
Yeah, we just got off 2 strikes, bro. Let's not create a new one
Copy.
here.
Yeah, right.
Hey, did you hear though the industry's going on strike again? Yeah, someone said something on the Meat Dave podcast and whole industry shut down.
That'd be amazing if I had that kind of effect. That's like Taylor Swift shit right there, bro.
We've always said you're the Taylor Swift of barbecue.
Thank you. I feel like her. I wish I could take this hat off and let my locks down right now. But
my favorite thing about you that I didn't know until today is that, you go by your last name, Binotto, and it's a very Italian strong last name, right? But obviously you're not like, my grandpa came over on the boat from Italy.
My dad came over on the boat.
Yeah.
100%.
But I think it's so funny because you keep saying like, how do you say, and then you're trying to think of the word for something, but it sounds like English is just...
Is my
because you keep saying it that way. You're like with perfect English. How do you say
with the hands? It's in the blood, man. It's in the blood.
I love it, man.
It's interesting. My pops is a chef.
Yeah.
And so that's another, I guess, kind of inspiration there.
And what did the thing he mainly cook was it authentic Italian food, or did he dive into all kinds of stuff?
He dove into all kinds of stuff. He worked for a lot of hotels, and then he was the executive chef for Warner Brothers Studios for like 26 years. So did a little bit of everything, mostly running large operations, but yeah, at home, he just cooked classic Italian food. And it was sort of, I wasn't raised with him full time, so it's not like I picked up his accent, and we're also not like East Coast Italians either, He moved from Italy when he was 21 to San Francisco in like the 70s and was like, dude, I'm here to cook and drop acid in the fucking park. That was him. So he has a gnarly accent, but he's not like East Coast, paisan, but But and I grew up in Detroit, so as like a speck of salt in the pepper, baby. I just got to do me and figured my own shit out, and thank God for food because it helped me along. It helped me find an amazing path, and I think it's amazing where food can take you too, right? And the people you meet from food, the things you see, the places you go just from cooking. It's wild.
It's been a wild ride for me, man. Like I did not. I mean, obviously we all have food influences. It's just a part of everyone's life, eating. And not many people who don't enjoy eating good food. And. Socially, I think I always appreciated like the part that food plays in, because I'm just a social person and I love making people happy. And, in college, like I was always so intrigued by like which sub shop or which chicken wing place, it just got everyone so excited. And, it was like such a connection point. And there's so many different things that I think interested me about it. But I personally never worked in food, nor really cared about like elevating my interest in cooking until I found barbecue. And it was just literally because I enjoyed consuming barbecue so much and I couldn't get it here that I finally was like, I'm teaching myself. And I just got so into it, not that long ago, maybe 6 years ago, right? And you're totally right. Just from that experience the past several years and my passion, I guess, like kind of for it, like shining through, I've gotten to meet so many cool people and do so many cool things. And it's taken me so many places that I wouldn't have otherwise had anything to do with,
Yes. It's amazing, man. It really is. I think, it's a blessing and a curse, and you've done it in a completely different route, which is like salute to you. I love that, and that's the thing. Everyone's got a different story with their food. Everyone's got their own origin story when it comes to their culinary path, and most of them are all positive. I mean, it really focuses you. I'm an ADHD son of a gun, right? Yeah. And but being basically raised the past 20 years in a kitchen, I've had to, like, everything has a home. I had a chef that wants everything on 90-degree angles, on your stations. And that translates into my life now. Like, I'm organized at home, I'm like, honey, you didn't put this back in its home. Maybe a little whatever OCD of me. But at the same point, it takes it can take the scrappiest of people and really hone them, I feel, and then give you that future to walk that path, a crazy, fun, cool path. I've cooked for so many celebrities and hung out with so many amazing musicians and, just, again, the people and chefs I meet, like Barbecue Brawl and Chopped. I did do Chopped a few years ago as well. That was Chopped 420, a little spin-off, if you will. But, I walked away with some new amazing friends that I know we're going to be friends forever, lifelong friends. And it's just amazing because you meet those people that really connect. And it's funny because it all comes down to food, right? Like you all have such a passion for food, but come from such different backgrounds. My chef friend, Wendy, she's
Dave Thomas's daughter.
Yeah. She's from Sichuan, China, right? I
never knew that.
I have a friend.
Seems like a cute little redhead girl, like all American. Sorry, I'm really hammering these Wendy's hamburgers.
Yeah, this is really, we're plugging Wendy's here. Like, hold on, let me go get the red wig.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, man. I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is, I've met so many chef friends from so many different walks of life, so many different cultural, different backgrounds, right? And they're bringing that into their food and being able to come together over food and really enjoy each other's different POV, right? Don't make a joke about that.
No, I appreciate what you're saying. I think it's great.
But
well, is there? So you're talking about opportunities to cook for celebrities or meet cool people. Is there a story that stands out?
Oh yeah, I cooked for Snoop Dogg a couple of times, and man, he's just the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Snoop a Loop, like, so the first time I cooked for Snoop a Loop, right? I went out to the table. I'm like, "Hey, Unc, how is everything?" And call him Unc, right? He's Uncle Snoop. First of all, you got to call him Unc.
Yeah.
So
sign
I'm like,
of respect.
Sign of respect, 100%. So I crip walked to the table, and I was like, "Hey, Unc, how's your dinner? How's everything?" He looks at me high as shit. He's like, "Hey, nephew," he goes, "this is so good. You need to go on Chopped or some shit." Little did I know, 5 years later, I was going on Chopped.
Snoop called it, man. Snoop's a wise man.
Snoop fucking called it. And is the second time when he came into the restaurant that we actually hung out. I was able to hang out, have a couple, blunts with him, and us having an after work beer and just relax and talk. He says, "Hey nephew, where you from?" I'm like, "I'm from Detroit." He's like, "Oh shit, I know a couple brothers from Detroit."
I love the Snoop impression, by the way.
Oh man, he's just so funny, so nice. Like, "Hey, come on in, nephews, come on in." Like, "What's up, Unc?" Like, you see in these pictures, like we're sitting there smoking a blunt, and my eyes, I'm just like, like a little giddy kid, and he's just like, "Yo, what's up?"
Do you remember what you cooked for him?
Oh man, I have no idea. This was the first restaurant I was executive chef at when I was 28. So some Asian fusion fine dining stuff, I don't know. I probably deep fried it though, maybe like, "Give me some salt and pepper lobster."
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not Snoop. That was.
I love it. I love
that. Was not. Sorry.
No, it's perfect. Spot on.
But yeah, man. We also had this night. It was in Hollywood, so there was like this weird club night or something happened, and all these people. Snoop was in again. Chris Brown was in at the time, and like I'm walking, trying to get through my dining room. Like I'm going home. I'm like, "Get me the hell out of here." Kitchen's closed. I'm walking through, and I like chest bump this guy, this like little white guy in a hoodie. I'm like, "Sorry, bro, excuse me." I put my hands on his shoulders, and I sort of just like manhandle him, and to get him around. And then I hear someone behind me like, "Hey, Justin, da-da-da." And like, that's when I put it together. I'm like, "Oh shit, I think I just manhandled the Biebs. I definitely just manhandled the Biebs." So yeah, Justin Bieber was walking through this big crowd in my restaurant, like in his hoodie, like trying to keep low key. "Sorry, bro, chest bump, grab shoulders, excuse me, all right." I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I don't know, all sorts of random encounters like that, But that's probably the more random one. But yeah, all sorts of cool people, cool chefs, man. I've had top chefs, Jeremy Ford and Justin Sutherland, come to my dinners, which was an absolute treat. You know, it's really incredible. Who else? I don't know. Ron Funches, you know, that was an amazing
Well, that's
person
such
to
a
be
cool
able to
idea,
meet.
man. And I've always tried to think of ways to evolve the comedy and the barbecue, stuff. And I've had some different ideas, but it's so validating hearing you explain the way that you did that, because I think that's the way to do it. I think you have the comics, you do the show, and then you have a smaller group where then everyone just gets to enjoy each other's company over. Because I've always thought about maybe just doing not even a show, just a dinner where I invite my comic buddies, because that's just as fun as seeing a comedy show to most comedy fans is a comic just holding court at a table, and then I've thought about maybe curating some dinners where it's like I host a steak dinner, and it's just like, I'm not going to do comedy for 12 people, but me talking about barbecue, you're going to get comedy in there. I'm going to be me,
100%.
And hopefully my passion would come through with like explaining which steaks we're eating and which cuts and where they were sourced from and all that kind of stuff. So
exactly. I mean, that's what it is anyways. When I do private gigs and things like that, it's dinner and a show.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm presenting you these dishes with humor, passion, and a little vigor in there. So
yeah, Bert was telling me I should start a business doing that, where I curate steak dinners. He was like, dude, because when we're on the bus and I got it from somewhere and I'm telling the guys what we're eating, whatever, he's like, people would pay a lot of money for this. Like, just to hear you talk about what we're eating, like, after you just cooked it. Like,
right.
And I'm like, I guess. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, I think they would actually.
Yeah, 100%.
So I like hearing too about like the little tidbits where you're talking about like keeping everything square and sourcing like the olive oil from Bakersfield, which I didn't even know was like a thing. Is there anything else that we can like leave?
Rio Bravo Ranch right there. Rio Bravo Ranch.
That's
where I get the
But I love learning little things like that that might make a big difference. Because now instead of just buying the olive oil at my store, I could look that up and have real fresh olive oil, and it makes a difference in what I cook, whatever.
100%.
Is there any other little tips or tricks or things that you're passionate about or that are ingrained in you that people can learn from if we bring it up?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think something that I'm very fortunate to be a part of is this pop-up freelance kind of chef culture that I'm in and have helped create. I've really surrounded myself by some amazing chefs and human beings. And I'm constantly trying to surround myself by people who are better than me.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the key to life. Surround yourself by people who are better than you. And it doesn't have to be better in every way, this way or that way, just people you aspire to be like. You want to have your barbecue skill. I want to have this person's whatever skill, I think that's the key. And it's so fun because ultimately you see that back too. You see these people that you look up to and are friends with that also do the same when they mirror a dish that you did, or they're like, hey, how would you do this? And taking your advice, so it's just fun to be a part of that community. I implore everyone to, those are the people you should surround yourself by. People that are better than you, no ego. And that's a hard thing, I think, when it comes to chefing and cooking, is there can be a lot of ego in this industry. I really don't get it. I'm not about that. I'm a chiller and a lover, you know what I'm saying? Like, peace, love, and barbecue, right? Like, I really think that's the key. Just surround yourself by good people, passionate people that are better than you in some way that you can learn from.
And that's why I started this podcast, to be quite frankly. At first, it was just a very selfish endeavor where I was going on the road and I was just kind of getting hardcore into wanting to learn everything I could about barbecue.
Yeah.
And so I just brought a recorder with me. And when I was in Sacramento I would just Google like different pitmasters or chefs, and I'd reach out and say, yo, can I come eat at your restaurant and interview you? And it was just an excuse to like ask questions that I wanted to ask. And then if anybody ever listened, so be it. But I was just uploading them, just the audio to the podcast things. And it was very selfish because I wanted to do exactly that. I just wanted to learn from people,
That's it, man. So, that's why we're in this game.
And that's why you're here right now, Chef Binotto. That's awesome, man. Well, I hope everyone follows you at chef_Binotto. Binotto. That's Binotto. Go check out Barbecue Brawl Season 4 if you want to stream it and get caught up in that if you don't already watched it. It was a really fun season to watch. At Embers and Ash Co, at Cannabis Supper Club. If you keep an eye out for both of us on Instagram, we're going to do some stuff together here in town. And I'm definitely having you on the podcast again because you live right down the street. And this was very fun this was a lot of fun for me to do this in person.
Yeah.
So
thanks for having me, brother, man.
And I'm sure we have a lot more to talk about. So
100%.
I'll have you again.
Let's do an evening one where we can have a brewski. You know what I'm saying?
Let's do a morning one and have a brewski. It doesn't bother me.
I was going to make sure I don't have the kid for the day.
There you go. Hey, Luis and I are no stranger. We do our other podcast, the Mermen podcast, and Luis knows anytime that one is scheduled like after the workday is over, I show up with beers, right, Luis?
Oh yeah, and it just shows up already a little bit smelling like beer. I'm like, oh great,
it's gonna be a good episode.
Smelling like stale beer from the night before too.
It's 5:01 p.m. Like just immediately 5 p.m. Like,
yeah, that's it, man.
Baby,
IPA,
I
bro.
love it, bro.
Chef Binotto, I love you, bro. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait to do it again.
100%. Thank you for having me, brother, man. Looking forward to it. Yee.